Hi everyone, my name is David Bell. I'm the co-founder of Emerald Battery Labs. Emerald Battery Labs is focused on revolutionizing sodium-ion battery technology. So batteries today, they're too expensive, they're dangerous, you've seen battery fires, and there's no supply chain security because 90% of batteries in the supply chain for lithium-ion batteries comes from China. So we formed a team of battery industry veterans to try to address this problem. I've spent my whole career in the battery industry. I've built thousands of batteries. I've built lead-acid batteries, lithium-ion batteries, solid state, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I've managed teams. I've led large multi-billion-dollar customer programs and product strategy. I brought in Chao as a CEO. I've known him for almost 10 years. He's led IP, materials, and cell design for multiple battery companies. And I brought in Eric, my co-founder, who's here today, on the operational side. He's sold almost $1 billion of material for a company just like ours. So the three of us got together and we said, hey, how can we solve this problem? We think sodium-ion batteries are the answer. Why sodium-ion? Because it's safe, it's abundant in the US, the feedstocks are abundant, and there's no critical minerals. The US already produces enough sodium-ion battery feedstock for almost 10,000 gigawatt hours of batteries. That's enough to fully electrify the entire grid, all of growing data centers, and every new vehicle sold. So we started talking to customers to try to figure out why are there no sodium-ion batteries on the market, or very few today. Essentially the problem is energy density, so people do want alternatives, but our customers are telling us that energy density is the key barrier to widespread sodium-ion adoption. So how much energy in a given unit of weight or volume. So we're solving that. We're developing proprietary materials for sodium-ion batteries. We're improving on existing anode technology with one of our platforms. With our second platform, we have a transformative alloying technology, and our products have higher capacity than incumbent materials. They drop into existing battery manufacturing, and we make them with inexpensive and widely available precursors. And of course, there are other companies that see this value prop in sodium-ion batteries, but we think we have a more experienced team, we have unique intellectual property, and a faster go-to-market. So Emerald Battery Labs is positioned as a tier 2 supplier. What does that mean? We sell material to a battery maker or OEM. That's how we generate most of our revenue. We're forming commercial partnerships for manufacturing and forming joint development agreements for research. We're part of a very large market, more than $300 billion today. There are batteries everywhere, so this should not be a surprise to anyone, but it's still growing very rapidly at more than 10% per year. On the go-to-market side, it's really about a crawl and walk and run. We want to replace legacy chemistries for defense applications in data centers first. So that's replacing lead-acid batteries with sodium-ion batteries. That's going to let us support ourselves through larger markets in commercial vehicles, in utility batteries like backup, in energy storage, and eventually over to passenger vehicles. And we're primed for rapid growth. On the macro side, there is a lot of onshoring that needs to happen for our energy security. And like I said, we have sodium-ion supply chain here in the US, so we need to leverage that to move away from China. We have our research and development infrastructure in place on UW's campus, actually. We have 2 different labs there, and we have a number of LOIs from customers like Wiener and Group 14. So we just formed the company a few months ago. Over the last month, we've synthesized at kilogram scale. We just moved into a new lab space. We're securing commitments for demonstrations. We're submitting for non-dilutive applications at Department of Defense and securing more and more letters of intent. And we added a technical pioneer in sodium-ion batteries to our advisory board. We spent more than 25 years in the sodium-ion battery space. We have a path to generate over $1 billion in revenue in just 7 years. How are we doing that? We basically need to win a couple of defense programs over the next few years, and that's going to let us win larger programs in the near future. So we're raising a little over $1 million, mostly for R&D. Thank you for your time. Happy to take any questions.
Market side, you said you want to go first into automotive applications, most certainly 12 volt and 48 volt batteries. They all have different sizing, and there is pretty much only 3 manufacturers out there, but I have not seen in your LOI any of those manufacturers. So how are you going to get in there?
Yeah, so really, really great question. So we want to go to market first replacing lead-acid batteries. So in defense, in data centers, in automotive starter batteries, like your lead-acid battery that everyone has, yes, there are a lot of form factors, but for us, we just need to build demonstration units to show that's possible. And ultimately, we're positioned as a tier 2. So our product is a powder. And so when we show our customers that we can solve that problem, it allows us to sell more of that material to battery makers. So the battery maker will deal with the sizing issues.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Along the same lines, you then also mentioned the DoD and data centers. Who do you know in the DoD right now?
Yeah.
Who do you know in data centers? How are you going to actually reach and physically touch your potential customers?
Yeah, that's an amazing question.
So that on your team slide.
Yeah, that's a really, really amazing question. So in Department of Defense, we have a number of different avenues. We submitted for an SBIR grant via Department of Navy, and that was specific to energy-dense sodium-ion batteries because they see the same value prop that we do, which is let's move away from lithium-ion, go to sodium-ion. That's one avenue. We're also engaged with a number of different, I call it like champions, within Department of Navy or Air Force, et cetera. We had a couple meetings earlier today with PNW, MAC, and so all of these different defense is like really big and crazy, and so we're trying to navigate that. On data center side, we have a couple of different partnerships that we're forming. With some of them are startups where they have mobile data centers. They just want safe sodium-ion batteries. If there's a fire in a data center, it's a big, big no-no. And there have been lots and lots of fires. They're just not super well publicized. So we're trying to get letters of intent there, and then we have a partner for helping us package up demo units. So we can just show them, here's a box. It does the backup for X amount of minutes that you need.
PNW Mac is great.
Yeah, those, we really like those guys.
I had a similar question. Have you guys mapped out what the path to $1 billion looks like since DoD in defense? Government is not as much of a reliable partner these days. So.
Yeah. So that's really our crawl approach, right? So we're not relying on government, but for now our goal is let's get the niche applications under our belt and show success. So on the civilian side, with data centers, we have a lot of traction there. With defense, we're just starting to engage now. The supply chain story, I think, is really strong for us right now because we have so much feedstock and everyone is concerned with what may potentially happen. But ultimately, we're going to see the most growth, and what we know the best are utilities, commercial vehicles, and passenger vehicles. So those are the largest markets. So we do need to have some wins over there as well.
I don't know very much about the space, but I'm curious, why you, why now, why has nobody else done this yet?
Oh yeah, that's an amazing question. So why me, why now? So why now, I think, is a really awesome question. It's a lot of the environment for onshoring is great. What's happened over the last 5 to 10 years in batteries, there was a big focus on performance. So if you wanted an EV, you wanted 500 miles of range. If you wanted your phone to last 20 hours. Now there's a shift to cost. So that started with low-cost Chinese batteries. Sodium-ion batteries can actually be half of the cost of the cheapest Chinese battery because of how much sodium feedstock we have. It's just so cheap and there's so much of it. So one was a shift to cost. 2, like the 3 of us have been cooking this up for a long time, and it was really just about what was the right problem to solve. So we're not attached to a magic powder. We think that solving the sodium-ion battery energy density issue is a huge unlock. And it's a huge market maker for us. And by us, like we've done it. Eric and I were just at Group 14, which is a Seattle-based battery materials company. We led business development, we led product strategy. We sold a lot of material, and that was focused on the high performance side. Now we want to shift over. Like our goal in starting this company was to shift over to something low cost. And then there's validation in the market. All the biggest battery makers in China are also shifting over to sodium-ion because of this fundamental cost advantage. Yeah, thanks for your question.
So a few moments ago, you mentioned that there are a number of competitors in this space, but your unique differentiator was your team. What about it specifically differentiates you from these others?
Yeah. So there's some unique differentiation with some of these companies. So some of them are positioned as cell makers instead of material suppliers. Some of them are going after materials, but we think that they're going after materials that are too expensive relative to what we're going after. Some of them are academic teams. There are lots and lots of companies in the battery world get funded that are fresh Stanford PhD, showed something interesting, but it's not a real product. So we think we have very unique intellectual property on the material side for both of those platforms that I mentioned, and on the cell side too, which we would just offer to help make our materials better. Yeah.
What's your valuation?
Yeah, we just have a market valuation. Is that what you asked?
Or market cap?
Yeah, we can talk about it offline.
And you're
But
raising money?
we are going to be raising soon. We do have some committed capital, but we are going to wait a little
And
bit.
I think it's 1.2 on a safe.
Yeah, correct.
Are you committed to the safe
And in terms of structure,
investment vehicle?
no.
So no market cap, no value?
We do have a market cap, but we think we're run of the ground market cap for Seattle pre-seed company.
I believe you had a huge revenue spike between 2030 and 2031.
Yeah, that's a really great question.
What happened there?
Yeah, so that's the start of our first mass production factory. So between now and 2030 is really just pilot line and qualification volumes and supporting those defense applications. And then we're saying that we're going to have a 25,000 ton factory come online in 2031, and then a second 25,000 tons in the second half of 2032. So that's a large amount of capital to get that going, but we returned it relatively fast due to the margin that we have.
Okay, so very slow growth until 2030.
It's literally, like I would think about it as going from 100 ton or less per year to now multiple 10,000 tons per year. So that's where there's a big spike there. In the programs that we're targeting for that 2030 to 2033 timeframe, we're going to be engaging with them from 2027 onward to get into those programs. So whether that's a utility or it's a car, you have to sell to them for a couple of years in the qualification scale before they will give us that big contract. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate all the questions.